right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Marin Formally. We have been doing our introductions in the chat. My pronouns are she, her. I forgot to add that in there. And I am apparently hosting tonight's meeting. This is only my second meeting. At least I think I came to December's meeting. I don't even remember because all of 2020 is a blur, but I'm going to do my best. So I ask that you be patient and, just throw a little something in the chat if I mess something up, okay? And I have the chat open too. All right, let's roll. Next slide. Okay, so meeting etiquette, we use a progressive stack to give everyone a turn to speak. If you would like to speak during a discussion or vote, please either type the word stack in the chat or say your name and stack aloud. Silence your microphone when you're not talking. If you are on stack, please remain muted until the facilitator, which I believe is me, calls on you. Oh boy. Okay. Type questions in the chat and presenters will answer in the chat or after the meeting. If a presenter is not able to stay for the open forum or answer your questions, please contact them via the provided email address. Next slide. Okay, so we kind of, those of us who were a little early already did this, but if you have not already done so, please do introduce yourself in the chat. Make sure you include your name and pronouns, what part of the city or county or which county you're from, and if you are a registered green. I've also noticed people talking about dues. I have a question about that myself, so maybe we'll get to that sometime during tonight's meeting. But, please do introduce yourself. Next slide. Okay, so today's agenda overview. First, we're going to go over the calendar and contact info. Then we're going to announce the officers. There's going to be some committee and working group updates from Green Wave, Anti-War Nuclear, APA Referendum. Then we will have deep dives and motions regarding endorsing Moving the Money resolution in Pittsburgh, 2021 goals, platform, bylaws, and proposals, and opening up nominations for officers and delegates. When we get done with all that, we'll have a meeting wrap up, and then there will be an open forum. Next slide, sorry. Okay, so calendar and contacts, and this slide goes to Jay. Jay, over to you.
All right, so we have a busy January coming up. We have a bunch of state party events. Those are kind of the first few. We have the big thing is our state national conference. Our statewide conference for the Green Party of Pennsylvania. That's going to be Sunday at noon, and all of our 11 delegates to the state are going to be in attendance. And then the night before, there's going to be a game night, and then there's also going to be another game night the next week, just for the entire state. Our big event this month is also the Stop Banking the Bomb March and Rally. That's on Friday, January 22nd at 11:30 a.m. So we're going to be trying to do a lot of turnout for that. And then that day is also, we're co-sponsoring a film screening that's going to be happening online. And the reason that day is important is because it is the day that the treaty goes into effect, where the entire nation is saying that we shouldn't have nuclear weapons. So January 22nd is the day that treaty goes into effect, and it was just recently ratified by the 50 nations that was needed, the 50th nation. Other than that, we've been doing phone banking every weekend for the solitary confinement petition. We've been calling voters to kind of let them know about the petition, get them to pledge to sign it, and then our next General Assembly meeting is at the first Tuesday of February 2nd, 2021. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Jay. All right, next slide, please. Okay, so I believe I can speak to this. Perhaps you are interested in reaching out or being a part of one of the several committees of Green Party of Allegheny County. The media committee is actually currently vacant, but they do have an email address, which is media at the website, and they work on the newsletter and blog. Jay is the chair of the outreach committee. His email is jjwalker3@gmail, and he is the one kind of who leads tabling and direct contact. The policy committee is headed up by Billy O'Hara. You see Billy's address here at gmail.com, and policy research and writing is what Billy chairs. The Green Wave committee, that's Garret, and that is Green Wave at Allegheny Greens. recruitment and training of candidates for office and of volunteers for their campaigns. And finally, is the Finance Committee, which is chaired by Kelly, who's the treasurer. And she is the one to talk to about membership and dues, fundraising, and budget. Okay, I'm seeing some stuff in the chat. Okay. Beth asked if they could put the phone banking link in the chat and about how many folks are on each of these committees. I don't know if someone can speak to that question or if you just want to do it in the chat. Oh, yep. Jay says varies from 5 to 10 about, and he will put the link in. Thank you for that. The next slide, there is also a state committee, which is the Green Party of Pennsylvania, and the contact information is there. And these are all of our current delegates from the Green Party of Allegheny County. Garret or something. There we go. Thank you. The National Committee, Green Party of the US. The current delegates, we have 4 from PA, and they are Garret, Jay, Beth, and Hillary. Then there's also Yes, which is the Young Eco-Socialists, and the Yes Steering Committee. Jay is the chair, and Kelly is the treasurer. That's a lot of committees. I love it. And yes, Billy noted that she's actually looking for someone to take over policy lead. So keep that in mind when we're getting to the part of the agenda that is about officers and vacancies and such. Okay, which is actually coming up next. Yep, next slide. Officer announcements, chair announcements, and we're going to give it back to Jay.
All right, so just some updates on some things that the executive committee did between now and the last meeting. We signed on to a Citizens for Plum Protect BT Breathe Project letter. That's about there's been an injection well that's being proposed for Plum for a while, and it's constantly it's a constant battle. So we signed a letter that kind of opposed to it. A lot of people said that we should sign on to this PPT letter about the Shakespeare Giant Eagle, and we tried to sign on, but we didn't get to it in time before it was sent. So sorry about that. And then otherwise, this over the past month and then this upcoming month, we've been talking to candidates for various 2021 races. Some of the campaign teams have started spinning up, and we're looking at candidates both for Pittsburgh races, but also its surrounding boroughs. And then the big thing that we're working on right now is this Alliance for Police Accountability campaign to get the 2 ballot questions on the 2 referendum questions on the ballot. So that's kind of really what we're most actively focused on. So we have phone banks going on. We're going to be doing in-person signature gatherings soon. And then next month we have our officer elections. So we're going to be trying to get those nominations together, trying to get more people to run so that we can have competitive elections. And then also in February, we're going to be voting on our 2021 plans. So we have various documents that people will need to go through before we vote on them, passing them into implementing them and saying that our county party is behind these plans. So we're looking to have a lot more actions, a lot more candidates and campaigns. We're trying to get our neighborhood groups going and our caucuses, and then just kind of get into a good outreach groove for this year. So there's going to be a bunch of goals and metrics that we're trying to hit, and we're going to have to vote on them as a party to see if this is what we want to do this year. That's it.
Thank you, Jay. The next slide, Kelly, I believe she's back. The treasurer's report.
Yep, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Hopefully I'm not too far behind. Okay, cool. So for January, rather than doing a monthly total, I decided to do the annual total since I just finished up drafting our annual report, which is due at the end of the month. We gained $1,300 this year, which is pretty good. Our end of the year balance is $2,000. We ended up raising a total of $4,400 and spent $3,100. Most of the spending was on Zoom costs and some candidate campaigns. Some of that income was also we were raising money for our candidate campaigns through the party. So some of that fundraising money is sort of inflating our number there a little bit, but for ourselves, rather than our candidates, we raised about $2,000. And then we have over 40 dues paying members right now. We would really like to be at 50 or 60 this month. So if you do not know if you're signed up for dues, you can PM me, you can email me. My contact info was on a previous slide. You can call me or text me. I'll put my phone number in the chat at the end of my little presentation. The suggested dues are $5 a month, but you can give whatever you are able to or would like to. And the link right there is AlleghenyGreens.org/donate. If anyone has any questions in the chat would be great. To pay dues, should we sign up as a sustaining donor? Okay, so this is where the questions, it gets a little tricky. So the GP of PA website has all of the links for signing up as a sustaining donor or a member or whatever for the GP of PA. We have a totally separate fund from them. And so we have to do all our fundraising on our own. So unfortunately, like if you want to be a member of the PA state party and donate to them, none of that really goes to us. So we have to do our own fundraising. So we would love if you would give $5 to us, and whatever else you want to give, you can give to PA, you can give to us, whatever you want. But yeah, I personally am a member for PA and Allegheny County. I just split up what my contribution is between the two of them. If you have any questions about that, or how to figure out which one you're donating to already, definitely let me know. I know that we've already had that come up with a couple of people that I talked to. So sorry, it's kind of confusing, but I'm hoping that we can get everyone on board. Make sure that you're going to the AlleghenyGreens.org link, to AlleghenyGreens.org/donate. And next slide. Okay, so in my report, I wanted to include stuff that we talked about at the Finance Committee meeting. We talked about a 2021 fundraising plan. We'd like to raise $15,000, which is super ambitious, but I think we can do it. We're really growing, and I'm excited to see our growth. So we would love to reach 200 members by December, and accounting for some growth along throughout the year, we estimate that that'll bring us to $8,000. And we'd like to raise $7,000 in other donations, one time or a couple times throughout the year from people, and that would be averaging $20 each. For the 2021 budget, how are we going to use that $15,000? 5,000 of it will go to campaigns. So we're running a whole bunch of campaigns, as Jay said, in city and borough council seats, and we are thinking about doing a mayor candidate. We'll talk more about that with the Green Wave update. But yeah, we're setting aside 5,000 to try to prepare for those campaigns and give them some seed money. To be clear, the campaigns should also be raising their own money. So that's not all the money that our campaigns will get. They'll be getting their own money as well. That's just to start them up. So then we'll have $5,000 for printing, actions, events, having food at events, all that kind of like usual costs. And we want to save up $5,000 because we would love to be able to hire a part-time organizer in the future, because we've seen with competing with Democratic campaigns, they have tons of staff who are paid full-time or part-time to do what they're doing, and everything that they're doing, we're doing on volunteer time. So it would be great if we could hire someone to do it. So we'll be saving up for that. That's all.
Thank you. Very, very, very informative and helpful. And I paid my dues while you were talking. Woohoo! Or I paid
Awesome,
something.
thanks.
I did something. I did a thing. Okay. Next, we're going to have some committee and working group updates. The first up is Garret with the Green Wave.
All right. So Green Wave is our committee that supports candidates and campaigns. And so, of course, we're in a new year. So we're gearing up for new elections. And 2021 is an exciting one because it is a municipal election year in which a lot of offices are up for re-election. So this is a great year to consider running for office, especially if you've never run for office before. These local offices are usually the best ones to target. Some of them are really important, such as even a judge of elections has a very small amount of time commitment. It's basically you run the election twice a year for the primary and the general election. But it is an important position because you're enforcing election laws, right? and making sure that it works properly. But there's borough offices, there's city offices, there's county offices, there's stuff like that to talk about. We're mostly focused on helping people with borough or run for borough and city council this year. But if you have any thoughts or questions, want to learn more about running for office, let me know. So you can either send me an email at greenwave@AlleghenyGreens.org there to get more information, or perhaps the best way actually is there's an RSVP link on the slide here. I'll drop that link in the chat in a minute. But this coming Thursday, we're going to have an informational session for anyone who is interested in running for office. No commitment or anything like that. Just if you've thought about it and you're not really sure what office to run for or where to get started or something like that, that's the point of this call. We'll kind of go through a list of the different offices that are available and kind of talk about time commitments and things like that and see which one might be right for you. So I hope to see you there if you're interested in running for office, and feel free to share that with anyone else that you think might be interested. Let me know if you have any questions. So thanks.
Thank you, Garrett. Next slide, and we have David, who is going to talk to us about the anti-war working group.
David's not on, so I guess I'll do it. So our main anti-war activity and the main anti-war activity that goes on in Pittsburgh is Stop Banking the Bomb. It's a coalition that we're part of to get PNC to divest from nuclear weapons. And you know, we had a Stop Banking the Bomb rally this past Saturday. Our big event that's coming up though is January 22nd. It's a march starting at the PNC Tower downtown at 11:30 a.m. And that's kind of I know we're hoping to make it a big event, so you'll definitely be reached out to about it. I think that's about it. And we also have a vote on the Move the Money campaign, which we'll hear about shortly. But that's it for an update.
Thank you. The next slide is also yours, Jay. Referendum on solitary and no knock.
Okay, yeah, so just to go into a little bit more detail, we are part of a coalition that's getting 2 ballot questions on the ballot. The first ballot question is a ban on solitary confinement at the Allegheny County Jail, and that's going on the county-wide ballot. And then the second ballot question is a ban on no-knock warrants, which is going on the citywide ballot for the city of Pittsburgh. So we're trying to gather signatures, very, very similar to the process for getting a candidate on the ballot. But we're trying to gather signatures from registered voters in the relevant area. So what we've been doing so far is we've been calling voters to kind of let them know about this effort. You know, lots of people haven't heard about it. They're not as plugged in as we may be. So they've been generally pretty appreciative and pretty supportive. And then we're trying to connect them with opportunities to sign the petition. What we're also going to be having to do is to just gather signatures the old-fashioned way, you know, mask up, gloves, get your gloves, get your hand sanitizer, and gather signatures from people at grocery stores or on the street, things like that. So we're definitely going to need volunteers, not only for phone banking, but also to gather signatures just from your household, and then also people to gather signatures from strangers with like our kind of our field team. And then we're also going to need a lot of administrative volunteers to kind of follow up with the people that we phone banked, that we cold called. To like, some people said that they want to gather signatures, but they want to volunteer, but they're not sure what to do next. So we need people in the back end to kind of follow up with those people. But you can sign up for all of these roles at the link here, and I can drop it in the chat again. But we've been phone banking for a couple weeks now, and we're planning on phone banking every weekend for the next 3 weeks. So this is definitely in motion right now, and we're going to be hitting the streets to gather signatures very soon, within the next week. Okay, that's all. That's my update for our efforts on these referendums. Oh, and the deadline to get the signatures in is in February, like mid-February, but we're trying to get our signatures in before then. Yeah.
Thank you. Garrett, next slide. And you are up with motion and vote. Endorse, move the money.
Yeah, actually, Paul, are you on the call? Would you like to speak about this?
Thank you, Garrett. I appreciate the time to speak about this, and some of you may know about it already, others do not. The Love the Money campaign is a national movement of various organizations, including Code Pink and the U.S. Peace Council and others, Beyond War, and about 15, 20 different organizations nationally have signed on to the Move the Money campaign, which is basically defunding the Pentagon and doing it at a local level to engage people in the anti-war movement. So I sent a formal letter to Jay as chair of the party asking for an endorsement of the Move the Money campaign, which is now endorsed by about 15 organizations here in Pittsburgh. And to give you a quick overview of what we're doing, basically all of the cities that are involved in the Move the Money campaign are going to be petitioning their city councils to sign a resolution demanding that their congressional legislators in Pittsburgh, that would be Doyle and Lamb, to join with the Reduce the Pentagon Spending Caucus in the Congress. I don't know the actual name of it. It's something to that effect. Basically defund the Pentagon by 10% in the next year, 50% over the next 10 years. And so we have drafted a resolution which has been sent to all 9 city council members. If I could share my screen, I could show you something else that might be of interest to people. I don't know if I'm able to share my screen. That's the letter and the brochure, and the what's being shown now is the resolution itself. So we now have enough signatures on our petition to get a hearing before the city council. But prior to having the hearing before the city council, we're going to try to get at least 2 and hopefully all of our city council members to sign on as sponsors of the resolution. So this is an exciting time because we've got a great committee, and we believe this is a doable proposition, and we believe, well, we can get this thing done and then move on to county council and keep the pressure on. 3 years ago, the mayor of Pittsburgh signed on with the National Conference of Mayors to reduce the military budget by 50% and has done squat with it. A lot of Congressman Doyle signed on to reduce the Pentagon budget by 10%. But, there are all these sort of, very just an image thing. They all sign on to it, but they don't do anything. Sort of like the Medicare for All. We've got a lot of people who sign on for Medicare for All, but don't do squat. So this committee and this group is going to continue the pressure to say, hey, listen, just like our Medicare for All people constantly are pressuring our people and demanding a vote, we're going to be doing the same on the military side. So exciting time. If I could just share my screen, I'll show you a quick timeline. Who's in charge here of the screen sharing, if that's okay? I've got no communist propaganda to show you here or anything like that. Don't worry. Maybe anarchist propaganda. I don't know. All right. Well, anyway, I wanted to just show you our timeline. Here we go. Thank you. So here's can you all see that? Can you see our timeline? Yes? Okay, great. So you can see we're on December 20. We just finished sending out the letters to all the council members, and we're going to start the visits with the council members. You can help us out if you're a City of Pittsburgh resident. Maybe you could be one of the constituents that goes with us to visit your council person, and they have gotten all the information. By the end of February, we should be done with the council visits and looking to do our public hearing in March. We're going to have a major press conference at that time, and then we're hoping the resolution will be introduced to council by April. So that's our timeline right now, and we are really excited. We're also in the process, one of our committees, let me see if I can change the slide here real quick. Yep, hang on a second here. No, that didn't do it. I can't do it, huh? Oh, maybe I can. All right, here we go. Can you see that now, our campaign structure? So we had the steering committee of 12 members and then 3 subcommittees. The resolution committee, their work is done. So that's going to become our outreach committee. And we're going to have outreaches to lots of different organizations. We want to have 40 to 50 local organizations, of course, including Green Party of Allegheny County, to be on this. This is already being endorsed by a lot of great groups. We want all of our progressive and left groups involved with this. So we're excited about that. And we've got a good committee of 12 members right now. And so that's the Move the Money campaign. Let me show you quick. That's our national website. And you can see the coordinating committee is made up of the U.S. Peace Council, Popular Resistance, Labor United for Class Struggle, Sanctions Kill, WILPF, All Unions Committee for Single Payer Healthcare, Code Pink, and Amnesty International. So great group of folks are on the national committee as well. So exciting new campaign, and we look at it as a corresponding campaign to our Stop Banking the Bomb campaign, which is focused on the finance side, on the non-governmental sector. This is going to be our governmental sector, working with legislation. And that is my presentation. I'll stop sharing and ask if there's any questions, comments, concerns.
So in general, in this group, is there a motion put forward first and then there's discussion, or do you guys discuss before you move?
Move to endorse.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second the motion, Beth Stronger.
Okay, and who was the mover?
Emily
It
DeFerrari.
was Emily. Thank you. So moved by Emily, seconded by Beth. Now what? Is there a blocking concern? I guess I should read that. That's on the slide.
So if there's no blocking concern, then it just passes by consensus, because that's kind of like our decision-making process.
Cool.
And then if there are blocking concerns, then we might have to have a vote, but otherwise,
Yeah, so
it's all good.
yeah, to explain this to people who might be newer here, we vote by consensus. So that means like if you have a concern, you should express it now. You don't have to say it's blocking right away, but we have a discussion after there's a motion, and we determine whether any of the concerns that have been brought up are blocking. And then if they're not blocking, then we have voted by consensus. So anyone who has a concern, speak now or forever hold your peace, as they say.
And to reiterate what Kelly said, we are now opening the floor for people to speak for or against, or if anybody has any blocking concerns. Going once.
I'm for it.
Okay. Sounds like consensus to me.
I'm seeing more support in the chat, so that's good. Good to know that everyone's not just being quiet for fear
Right.
of being called out. So seems like we're in agreement that it's a good move.
Yep. All right. It's been properly voted and conceded to.
Now we all have to say, we've got to move it, move it. That's our official theme song for the.
Oh,
Move
is
the Money
it? Oh,
campaign,
okay.
so.
It's already been moved. I'll remember that for next time, though. Okay, we good? All right, next slide. So it's coming back to you, Kelly, that we are now taking nominations.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of self-explanatory. We're taking nominations for executive committee and delegates to the state party. You can use the Google form at the link provided. We're going to have nominations open until January 15th, and then we will send candidate information out before our February General Assembly, and that's when we vote. So typically we would talk more about what each position does and what's involved there. But I didn't see any slides for that in the presentation. So is everyone on the executive committee okay with, at least everyone who's here, just saying a few words about what you do? I don't want to take up too much time, but I want people to know at least like what is going to be like expected of people, what kind of people should sign up for the positions, etc. So Jay, Garrett, are you guys good with, we can just say a few words about each of our things, everyone else?
Sure, yeah, I'll start. I'm the chair, and the chair is basically kind of like the leader of the party, main spokesperson. So oftentimes I'll speak on behalf of our party for interviews and, just sort of general steering of the party, pushing us forwards on all the things that we want to do. It's a little undefined, so it's sort of kind of a little bit what you make of it. And I know I have my strengths and my weaknesses as chair. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, so I pulled up a slide here, or not a slide, the nomination form, just to kind of show you what it looks like. But when you fill it out, it's got a spot where you can type in a name, right, for each position. So if you want to nominate anyone, that includes yourself. If you would like to nominate yourself and sign up for a position, feel free to fill out that form and let us know your interest, or if you want to draft someone else to do it. Jay spoke about chair. Our other executive committee officers, there's 7 in total. So there's a chair, there's a vice chair that is more of like an education role, as it says here. So you kind of help out with bylaws and platform. Our secretary helps keep track of our membership and records notes. So thanks goes out to Alexis for taking notes today. Then, of course, our treasurer, Kelly, which handles the finances, which is mostly taking donations, paying for them. And at the end of the year, we have to submit a campaign finance report to the state that just says how much we raised and spent. So it's not a huge deal, and it's pretty easy, but it's a very important position. We have a media coordinator to help do social media and the newsletters and all. That used to be Ron, but Ron's been very busy, so he had to step down. So if there's anyone that's like super excited about doing social media or websites or newsletters or something like that, that's a good one for you. We have a working groups coordinator, which is a little bit more ill-defined, but basically works with all of our different working groups and committees on coordinating actions. So making sure that people show up to events or things like that, right? And then finally, there's a neighborhoods coordinator, which helps our neighborhoods get together. So the Green Party of Allegheny County is kind of supposed to be an umbrella of smaller neighborhood committees that exist in different parts of the county and different parts of the city in Pittsburgh. So we have a few of those neighborhoods active right now in the East End, Regent Square, South Hills, and we'd like to see more of those that kind of meet independently from this meeting to do very localized actions and whatever makes sense. Holding picnics for your neighbors, whatever it is that helps us spread the green word and help people and help candidates. And then lastly, we're part of the Green Party of Pennsylvania and the Green Party of Pennsylvania is made up of county parties across the state. And the way that the business meetings work for the state party is that delegates from each of the counties sign on to that teleconference. And if there's any votes or anything that needs to happen, then the delegates vote at those meetings. So for Allegheny County, we have a certain number of delegates that will attend that state committee conference call and discuss things and vote on things as necessary. There's usually 5 of them a year. Typically 2 of them are in person, although with coronavirus, who knows? But so for now, they're all teleconference. And there's 11 open positions actually. So we have a lot of open slots. So if you don't mind a couple hour long meeting on a Sunday every couple of months, we could use your help to discuss and help steer the Green Party of Pennsylvania to some good stuff in the coming years. And then there's a place, if you're not currently signed up for one of the committees that we've talked about before, so like Green Wave, if you want to help candidates or whatever, you could check these boxes and then we'll give you more information about how to get involved in those groups. All right. Hopefully that explained it well, but let me know if you have questions.
Cool. I would like to just say one more thing about treasurer before we go. It is a super easy job, as Garrett said. I would love to have more people on finance committee who have experience in finance and financial planning and such, because I honestly, I took the position because I like spreadsheets. I'm good at spreadsheets. I'm good at like organizing data. I worked as a software engineer and data scientist. So that's my jam, but like financial planning is not exactly. So our financial committee really needs more people with that kind of experience or just knowledge. And I also would really, I'm looking for a replacement as treasurer next year. I would like to run for chair or vice chair or both. So anyone who has any interest in making spreadsheets, keeping track of data, or even if, it's not that interesting, I'm gonna be honest, but if you think that you have a little bit of time and you're not really sure how you want to contribute to the Green Party, this is a really easy way to do it. So if you have that ability, talk to me if you have any questions. If you know someone who has that ability, you can nominate them. They can then accept or decline. And I'm seeing lots of chat notifications that are basically saying the same thing. Nominate someone, nominate yourself, whatever. You can always ask us questions too if you aren't sure if you're cut out for it or like what it involves. I can guess that if you're interested, you're cut out for it. That's all I have to say though.
Thank you.
I'll add one thing. Like when we all started, we had like no experience. So don't be afraid. Like this exact executive committee, we were all basically like sort of thrust into it a little bit. We kind of stepped up into it. We definitely weren't like groomed for it in any way. So just something to keep in mind. It may seem scary. You may feel like you're not qualified to be a candidate or to serve in an executive committee, but you're definitely qualified.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, Beth was taking it out of my mouth. Can we please put the nomination link in the chat? And then we'll go ahead and move to the next slide, which is 2021 goals, platform and amendments by our chair, Jay.
All right, so next month, February, is our Green Party of Allegheny County convention, where we're going to vote on various kind of like planning documents for 2021, various sort of like our candidate endorsement policy and documents, our budget, some bylaws amendments. It's just sort of we normally, when we have to amend the bylaws, we would have to have 2 meetings, but if we have a convention, then we can do it all at that one meeting. We might also have some endorsement votes themselves at the meeting. So hope you all can make that meeting next month. And yeah, I guess we're going to talk just a little bit about what's coming down the pipe. And you can see it all at this website that Garret created, which I'm sure hopefully he'll be able to drop in the chat. But for me, the thing I was working on was this 2021 goals and metrics. I was just trying to think about what are the things that we want to accomplish in 2021 and how can we put some metrics on it so that we can measure how far we've gone. So it's going to be a lot of things like how many campaigns we're going to run, how many volunteers we're going to get, how many meetings we're going to have for our various neighborhood groups and our caucuses, how much money are we going to try to raise, things like that. How many actions are we going to participate in and how many people are we going to turn out for those actions? So it's just kind of, this is the first time we've put something together like this, at least since I've been in the party the past few years. So I just kind of put some numbers there and we're going to try to achieve them. And if we can't achieve them, we're not going to beat ourselves up about them. But you'll be able to look those over the next month, and then we'll be voting on whether we want our party to collectively push towards those goals in this upcoming year. So that's the goals and metrics. And I'll kick it to Garret to talk about some of the other documents.
Let's see. I'm having trouble because every time I try to click on that link, this slide thing pops up. Anyway, if you go there, there's Google Docs that you can click on. See? So what we did to support our candidates this year is there's a short form that we drafted up with Billy, Connor, and Matt especially. So thank you, everyone. But we drafted up kind of a short version of our platform, like condensed it down into like one page so that our candidates will have to kind of sign and agree that they support our key values and our platform in order to receive the Green Party endorsement. And as a recognized minor party in Pennsylvania, you have to have the endorsement in order to appear on the ballot as green. So that's kind of our way of trying to control and make sure that our candidates represent our values. So take a look at that document. I don't think anything should surprise you because it's just kind of our old platform distilled into a very short thing. But just in case if there's any objections or comments or anything like that, you can let us know. So that was the policy agreement. There's also a much longer proposal to update the full platform to include a lot more detail. And Connor was working on that. So I don't know if you wanted to kind of talk a little bit about that or not, Connor. We all contributed, but Connor threw in a bunch of stuff. So I feel like you might have the most to say.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say. I did make some additions and expanded on a few things that already existed in there. The biggest additions had to do with mobility and complete streets, food access, and transit access. Those were the biggest additions. But yeah, I'd encourage everybody to just glance over it at least and make any comments, make sure we're not missing anything. I will also say that it covered a lot of bases. It seemed pretty comprehensive to me.
Cool. So in the chat, we kind of had some unfinished business from the nominations. And it seems like it has been requested that we open the floor for nominations just to make sure there's access to anyone who wants to verbally nominate themselves or someone else for position. So I guess to go through that, I will just read aloud and count to 7 and see if people so that's what my boss uses, is like the number that you count on a teleconference to make sure that people have a chance to hear you and respond. I'll count to 10 though. How about that? And then you can either write the name in the chat or you can verbally say it out loud. Okay. So are there any nominations for chair?
I want to nominate Kelly.
Thanks.
Are there any more nominations for chair? Third ask, are there any more nominations for chair? Okay. And that's closing the verbal nominations for chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I'm going to nominate Claire Cohen for vice chair. I talked to her about it a little bit, and she expressed some potential interest, but she's not sure yet. But I'd like to nominate her.
Thank you. Are there any more nominations for vice chair? Final ask, are there any more nominations for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate Garrett to be vice chair again.
Thank you. I'm assuming that is there a nominations committee? I'm sorry, that will reach out to get the confirmation that people are accepting their nominations, or is that just something the executive committee does?
Yeah, we'll do that as the executive committee. We'll gather up all the nominations and reach out to people, and if they accept, we'll ask for like if you want to provide a short, bio or statement or something that we can send around afterward.
Cool, thank you. Last call, any nominations for vice chair? Are there any nominations for secretary? Are there any nominations for secretary?
Alexis, are you currently functioning in that position?
I am.
And is that why you're laughing, hoping no one will nominate you? Tough luck. Tough luck. I just nominated you.
Kelly says in chat that her video froze, but she'd like to nominate Alexis too.
Great. Are there any more nominations for secretary? Final ask, are there any more nominations for secretary? Are there any nominations for treasurer?
I just want to clarify a point in the chat. Matt asked, do you have to be registered green to be nominated? Jay says yes, but I'm inclined to say you only have to be registered green to actually be elected. Yeah, Garrett says you can switch before serving in office. So if you're not registered right now, but you still want to be nominated, that's okay. As long as you switch before we elect you.
Thank you. I hope that means there's someone who wants to be nominated for treasurer. Are there any nominations for the office of treasurer? Oh, there's a question. How much time does it take, Kelly? Oh, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck.
Awesome. Thank you, Chuck. To answer that
welcome.
question, you get out what you put in. It's a minimum of just like, 5 hours a month, 10 hours maybe. You do have to serve on the executive committee, so you have to be generally available, preferably via Slack, for voting on things like signing onto letters that occur between general assemblies, so we can't get a vote from the general assembly on it. So you have to be part of the executive committee, but beyond that, it's just keeping a spreadsheet that you balance it like a checkbook, and being in charge of taking donations and putting them in the bank and having a debit card with the bank account. So it's a very important job and you have a big responsibility, but in terms of time commitment, it's really not a lot.
Thank you. This chat is so
Complicated answer, sorry.
No, that's good. Your answer was great. I'm laughing at the chat because it's funny. It looks like that also Jay wants to nominate Stephen for treasurer. So, any other nominations for treasurer? Last call for nominations for treasurer. Do we have any nominations for the office of media coordinator?
I want to nominate Garret Wassermann, who has basically been serving as our media coordinator for like 4 years. So, I mean, that's not true. Ron did a lot too, but Garret has always been running the Twitter and the Facebook and whatnot.
Thank you. Are there any more nominations for media coordinator? There's a question in the chat, who are currently serving as the media, neighborhood, and groups coordinator?
Jay, do you want to answer this or do you want me to?
Yeah, okay. So neighborhood groups coordinator is Catherine Abieva. Working groups coordinator was Tom Bailey, but he had to step back because of personal life. And Ron Gavlik was the media coordinator, but he also had to step back because of his personal life. I know specifically in Ron's case, he just was working too many hours to be able to do a good job. So yeah, so they're kind of, yeah, 2 of them are vacant currently.
Thank you for that. Do we have any nominations for media coordinator? There are a few people who have left the meeting, so now might be the time to throw their name out there, see if it sticks. Just saying.
I want to nominate Matt Nemeth also. He's been doing a lot of media coordinating work at the state party level, so I think he would be a good candidate too.
Go, Matt. Last call. Are there any more nominations for media coordinator? What about mail? Is that for media coordinator, Chuck? Or something else? Chuck, did you hear my question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, mail is the head mudslinger. Okay. I wasn't sure if that was a nomination for mail. I can hear you now, though.
No, yeah, I nominate Mel.
For media coordinator?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
My internet connection is spotty, so I apologize.
Thank you. I
You're
decline.
okay.
I decline.
Okay.
Thank you.
It looks like you're also being nominated for head mudslinger. Are you willing to do that, Mel?
No, that was Helen. I nominated Helen for head mudslinger.
Yeah, but then Garrett looks like he threw you in the See?
I didn't want to keep this
The
up too
chat
much.
does not agree.
But if there's a profanatory position, I want to be the anti-thonatory because I'm anti everything capitalism stands for. I'll stop there. Thank you.
I love it. All right, we're going to move on to the nomination for working groups coordinator. The floor is open.
I nominate Jay.
I'm sorry, that was two people at the same time?
Beth first.
I nominate Jay.
Thank you. Nomination for Jay, and then someone else was speaking. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your face.
That was me. I want to nominate Mike Stout.
Okay.
Who's, he is direct action king. So I think it would be a good fit.
Are there any more nominations for working groups coordinator? Last call. Are there any more nominations for working groups coordinator? Okay, we're moving on. Are there any nominations for neighborhoods coordinator?
I want to nominate myself for this position.
Oh, you beat me to it. I told you I was going to nominate you.
Sorry, Kelly.
I'll join the Northside Neighborhood Group. I'm in Manchester. I'll join. Helen is right out the gate with all the nominations and all the seconds. I love it. Are there any more nominations for neighborhoods coordinator? And last call for nomination for neighborhoods coordinator.
I'd like to nominate Billy. Billy has been doing neighborhood group coordination for sure. So I think they can do a good job.
Thank you for that. Any more nominations for neighborhoods coordinator? And finally, nominations for delegates to the Green Party of PA. And there are 11 open spots. I am willing to serve as a delegate to the Green Party of PA.
I would like to nominate everyone who's a current delegate. Am I allowed to do that without saying all their names?
I mean,
Yes, please
Wait,
go.
I have-
Yes.
I have a question about this. Okay, do I count as if I'm from Westmoreland, do I count as an Allegheny delegate or as a Westmoreland delegate? Or both, or either, or like, I'm confused about that point.
I can answer that. Until Westmoreland has a recognized chapter that's separate from Green Party of Allegheny County, you count as Allegheny County. I'm pretty sure. I guess Jay and Garrett should probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I definitely did that when I lived in Westmoreland.
Yeah, our bylaws allow that neighboring counties like Westmoreland until there is an official county committee recognized by the state in that county, then you can participate in our county. So you can be a delegate for Allegheny County until Westmoreland forms its own, basically. I went back in time on to the slide that lists the delegates, so you could see the list of people that Kelly just nominated.
It's really helpful. Thank you.
I can also say, I think one of the things that's confusing you, Billy, is that the delegate numbers that went out included 4 for Westmoreland, or maybe it was 2, I don't remember. And that's because Westmoreland had an actual party. So because it wasn't like disaffiliated or anything, even though it's been kind of like gone for a little bit, you could probably serve as a delegate for Westmoreland if you wanted to. It's just a matter of like, you know, what we tell the state. So I don't know, I wouldn't worry about it too much. We can figure it out offline.
Okay. I just didn't want to take up a slot if someone else wanted it, if I could be Westmoreland.
I'd like to nominate Riley.
Oh, there you go. Just as Riley put it in the chat.
I want to nominate Steven Martinez. He's been going to meetings, state party meetings consistently, so I think he would be a good delegate. Oh, we also have 1 million alternate delegate spots. Not 1 million, but like we have like 6 or so. So we haven't filled those. The fact that we filled our actual delegate spots was like a big deal. It's like we were definitely not doing that before. So it's kind of shows the sign of our growth, which is exciting.
Ooh, can I change my nomination to alternate delegate? Since there are so many people who want and are willing to serve.
I believe the way we do it is we do a ranked choice vote and the top 11 get the delegate and then like bottom whatever get the alternate spot. Garrett and Jay, that's the way we did it last year, right?
Yes.
Yay, ranked choice.
And I think some people specifically asked to be alternates. But we can figure that out while we're making sure that everyone accepts their nominations. So we can figure that out off the call.
I'd like to nominate Connor as a state delegate.
Did you see my nomination for Catherine in the chat?
I just saw that, Paul.
I'd like to nominate Catherine.
Catherine Abby Eva?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Are there any more nominations for the state delegates?
I nominate Dylan Liu.
There you go. All right, and okay, the slides are moving, so we might be good. We good to move on? Everybody feel good about that? Please do not forget to also use the Google form. We just wanted to open the floor for nominations in case anybody wanted to make them during our General Assembly meeting, but that does not preclude everyone actually going to the form, because at the bottom of the form, you do have the ability to choose whether you want to be on committees or not. So it's good to hang out and to finish them. All right. So moving on to the next slide, which is new format feedback by Bill.
That's a slide we've had on there for a long time. It was just because we had the new format of we added in the presentation. So if people want to fill that out, they can, but it's kind of old at this point. We can take that out for next time.
Okay, can someone drop that link in the chat to do the survey if they want to? All right, are there any member proposals or quick announcements, keeping in mind that we will have open forum after the motion to adjourn? Thank you, Kelly. All right,
I guess just if anyone wants to look at those 2021 goals, maybe we can, after we adjourn, we can kind of stay on and kind of take a look at them real quick, just so people can see it first. And then anyone who needs to go can leave and we can end early, but then anyone who wants to stay and discuss them we can look them over together.
This is Mel. I just want to compliment the facilitator, or whatever you want to call Maren today. An incredibly well-run meeting. Thank you.
I second that.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. It's pronounced Marin, but you'll get there. I appreciate it. Let's see, there's a comment, which is that for the open forum, or do you want to discuss that now? About, sorry, the chat moved. Is there any movement for an official coalition of leftist Pittsburgh groups? I think we mentioned something about that last month. I don't want to mispronounce your name.
Mike, do you want to talk about that for a minute? Are you still on? Mike, the new social contract group, the Pittsburgh left.
Yeah, Riley talked about it at the last South Hills meeting that I was on. And we informed Riley that in fact, there's already a group that's been meeting for the last 2 months. We meet every Saturday morning, and some of the people on this call, Helen, Jay, and many other people that here might be familiar with. We've been meeting and discussing issues like principles, what our goals are, both immediate and long range, and how we can build an independent left movement in Pittsburgh, which in lieu of the next 4 years is going to be more necessary than ever, as we all know how the Democratic Party is going to deal with things over the next 4 years. So there's a group in the works already, and we meet every Saturday morning. And if anybody's interested, please just let me know. Helen's also here, and Jay have been part of the discussion. I know Riley's been at the meetings. And I will say this, that thus far the group, this is probably about the 5th or 6th effort over the last 30 years to build an independent radical political left coalition or united front in this area. And the other ones failed for many different reasons, but this one is certainly the most diverse one I've been part of, age-wise, gender-wise, and every other way, race-wise. The groups vary. We have young people as young as high school, and people as old as in their late 70s, and everything in between. It's a very good start, very good mixed group, and we're determined to build an independent movement to respond to what I consider the next couple of years is going to be major crises, both economically, politically, and environmentally.
Oops, thank you, Mike. Are there any more announcements before we take a motion to adjourn?
Can I just plug in here that our phone banking for the APA initiative to get Solitary and Brianna's Law passed on the ballots. Phone banking will take place next Saturday morning at 11 a.m. So anyone here who's interested in being a part of that, like was said earlier, you can let me know if you want the link put back into the chat or not, but just so you know that's coming up.
Thank you. Are there any more announcements? A couple things popping off in the chat. Okay, I believe we'll take a motion to adjourn. Oh, wait, there's a
A motion.
stack. Sorry,
Oh,
I apologize. There's a stack from Mike.
all right.
Yeah, I just wanted to announce that for those of you that don't know, I'm the president of the Allegheny County chapter of the Isaac Walton League. We currently have 65 dues paying members, and our next meeting is on Tuesday, January 26th at 7 p.m. by Zoom, of course. If anybody's interested, just let me know in the chat. We are, I would dare say, the most radical environmental group at this time that's not run by nonprofits and nonprofit staff. We don't answer to anybody, and we're fairly radical. And we have 5 or 6 different things that people can plug into, including education and forums that we do film presentations. We have a composting committee. We have a tree planting committee. We have a lot of different things going on in the chapter that people can plug into. And everybody here is more than welcome to participate, come to the meeting, and join the Isaac Walton League. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more announcements? All right, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. I'm assuming there's no consensus needed. We're just done. Thank you.